Sir, I need you to take a breath and step back from me.
I'm not stepping back. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm just standing here waiting for my sister.
You drew attention when security said you were yelling at staff. I'm here to figure out what's going on.
The shoes were tagged wrong, and they got smart with me. That's it. I'm not causing trouble.
Okay, and I'm telling you to keep it calm while we sort it out.
The man you're about to meet is Marcus Ellison, a 32-year-old software engineer, a father, a man whose only crime that day was walking into a shopping mall wearing a hoodie. Before we continue, what city are you watching from? If this is your first time listening, support the channel by liking and subscribing. Stories like this need to be heard, and with your help, we can make sure these events don't go unnoticed. On a bright Saturday afternoon, Marcus walked into Maplewood Mall, intending to buy a new pair of trainers. That's all. Yet by the time he left, he was handcuffed, humiliated in front of dozens of shoppers, accused of theft he didn't commit, and his life had been catapulted into chaos. How does a simple shopping trip spiral into a legal nightmare? How does being in the wrong place at the wrong time, wearing the wrong skin color, lead to public humiliation, racial harassment, and a lawsuit that would shake a store, a police department, and an entire community? This is that story. Marcus Ellison grew up in a working-class neighborhood on the outskirts of Atlanta. He had a reputation for being meticulous, reliable, and hard-working. By 32, he had risen to lead a small software development team, known for delivering critical projects for national clients. He was the kind of man who believed in order, in fairness, in doing the right thing quietly, efficiently, without drawing attention. Friends described him as thoughtful, composed, someone who carried himself with dignity, not arrogance. Every morning, Marcus ran 3 miles. Every evening, he checked in with his 8-year-old daughter over homework. His weekends, reserved for family, the occasional basketball game, and errands like buying a new pair of trainers. Nothing remarkable, nothing controversial. Except that day, everything changed. Maplewood Mall was bustling that Saturday afternoon. Parents pushed strollers through the shiny corridors. Teenagers laughed as they grabbed iced coffees. The smell of fresh pretzels mixed with the sterile scent of new sneakers. Marcus entered Footgear Plus, a popular sports store on the mall's second floor. The store had seen dozens of theft accusations that month alone, most targeting young black men. Staff whispered about suspicious behavior, and security officers loitered near the entrances, eyes scanning shoppers' faces. Marcus, in his gray hoodie, was immediately noticed by 2 employees. They whispered, their gazes lingered, not because Marcus did anything wrong, but because someone had taught them implicitly that he didn't belong there. The environment was casual yet charged, familiar yet threatening. The mall's neon lighting reflected off polished floors. Shoppers didn't notice the tension brewing, but Marcus felt it. A subtle, prickling awareness, the kind you feel before something unfair, something unjust lands on you like a hammer. It started innocently enough. Marcus picked up a pair of trainers, inspected the stitching, and put them down. Another shopper brushed past him. Footgear staff's eyes snapped to him. "Excuse me, sir, can I help you with something?" asked one employee. "I'm just looking," Marcus replied, politely holding the sneakers. Before he could move, a voice from the corner cut sharply through the air. "Security, get over here. That man, he's stealing." Marcus froze, confusion mixed with shock. "I didn't steal anything," he said, raising his hand slightly. But the employee had already called mall security, and before Marcus could explain, a uniformed officer arrived. Officer Daniel Hargrove, 28, with a service record showing multiple complaints about biased treatment, approached Marcus with a mix of suspicion and authority. "Sir, step over here. You're being accused of theft," Hargrove said, tone clipped, eyes narrowed. Marcus complied, calmly, respectfully. "I didn't steal anything, I was just browsing." But Officer Hargrove wasn't listening, and the store staff, they were certain. He was acting suspiciously, one whispered. Looked guilty to me, said another. The situation escalated not because Marcus acted suspiciously, but because the system, security, staff, police decided he didn't belong. Marcus's compliance didn't stop the verbal assault. Hargrove's questions weren't questions. They were accusations disguised as authority. Where did you get that hoodie? Why are you looking at those shoes like that? Are you working with someone to steal these items? Shoppers began to notice. Some whispered. Phones were pulled out. Marcus's heart raced, but he stayed composed. I can show you my receipt, he said. I haven't taken anything. Don't give me excuses, Hargrove barked, voice echoing off the tile floor. Staff circled. Their eyes were accusatory. Marcus realized the absurdity. He had done nothing wrong, yet he was being treated like a criminal. Every step, every gesture, every polite clarification only made the situation worse. The more reasonable he was, the more irrationally he was treated. A crowd gathered. Mall shoppers whispered, murmured, recorded. A man in a suit said, "What's going on? Is he stealing?" The social power dynamic was clear. One black man, surrounded by authority figures, being dehumanized in public. Then Marcus remembered his phone. He opened the store app, showing a confirmed order from another branch and a pending payment for the very trainers he had picked up. "This is mine. I paid for it," he said, holding the confirmation in front of Hargrove and the staff. Silence. Then the realization hit Hargrove. His eyes widened. The staff exchanged awkward glances. Marcus's proof was undeniable. The man who had been humiliated, accused, and restrained had been telling the truth the entire time. Sorry, Hargrove muttered, shuffling back. His authority had crumbled in front of everyone. The store employees, once confident, now felt exposed. Whispers of, "I guess we were wrong," couldn't erase the damage. Marcus had been publicly accused, racially targeted, and humiliated, yet he stood unbroken, dignity intact, while the accusers recoiled in embarrassment. Luckily, Hargrove's body cam had been recording. Footage captured every moment, Marcus's calm demeanor, the staff whispering about suspicious behavior, Hargrove's escalating aggression, and the ultimate reveal of Marcus's proof. The video leaked to social media within hours. Viewers were horrified. Thousands watched Marcus's calmness under pressure contrasted with Hargrove's hostility. Witnesses gave statements. A teenager said, "He didn't do anything wrong. The cop just assumed." Another shopper added, "I've never seen someone treated like that for just buying shoes." The footage went viral. Headlines followed. Black shopper humiliated at mall. Cop apologizes when assumptions become arrests. The story ignited outrage and debate. The mall faced intense scrutiny. Footgears Plus issued a public apology citing unfounded suspicion and promising bias training for all employees. Officer Hargrove was suspended pending an internal investigation. Documents revealed a pattern of racial profiling complaints. Marcus filed a civil lawsuit against both the mall and Hargrove, seeking damages for emotional distress, reputational harm, and racial discrimination. The lawsuit was settled for $250,000. Hargrove's record remained under review, and the mall adopted new policies aimed at preventing unwarranted detentions. But the consequences weren't just financial, they were systemic. Policies were rewritten, security procedures were questioned, and the public learned a painful truth. Even innocent people in plain sight could become victims of bias. Marcus's story is not isolated. It exposes a social fault line, assumptions based on race. A black man buying shoes becomes a threat. A uniformed officer, empowered by authority, treats suspicion as guilt. How many Marcus Ellisons are humiliated silently every day? How often does compliance and politeness fail to prevent injustice? The incident forces us to confront uncomfortable questions. Why do we default to suspicion? Why do systems designed to protect sometimes amplify prejudice? What moral responsibility does society bear when innocence is publicly punished? Every detail, the store's glances, the officer's tone, the gathering crowd, speaks volumes about collective assumptions and systemic bias. Marcus's dignity survived, but countless others are not as lucky. Marcus left the mall that day not just with a pair of trainers, but with a story of resilience. He filed his lawsuit, shared his experience, and forced institutions to examine their failures. Yet the moral question lingers. If Marcus hadn't remained calm, if no one had filmed the incident, if bias had gone unchecked, how many Black men would silently endure humiliation, powerless to prove their innocence? This isn't just a shopping mall story. It's a story about race, authority, and justice, about society's default assumptions, about the fragile line between innocence and accusation. If you're watching this, ask yourself, how would you act if it were you? Support justice, share stories like Marcus's, speak up when you witness unfairness. And remember, this story doesn't end neatly. Injustice waits for no one, but awareness, attention, and action can change the narrative. Before you go, like, subscribe, and comment below. Stories like Marcus's need witnesses, and your engagement can make sure these injustices don't go unheard.